In a world where trust is shattered and love is tested, one channel dares to uncover the untold stories of heartbreak and betrayal. Welcome to Heartbreak Chronicles, where real-life tales of infidelity are unraveled, secrets exposed, and lives forever changed. Join us as we navigate the complex world of relationships, offering support, understanding, and a place for those who have faced the pain of betrayal. Subscribe to Heartbreak Chronicles now, because every story deserves to be told, and every heartbreak deserves to be heard. Story 1. She cheated and lied to me after 4 years. But I got my revenge. Hi everyone, this is my first post ever on Reddit, but I'm not really on social media. I recently sacrificed most of my social relationships to only keep my productive ones, and I need to get this off my chest. This story began 5 years ago. I was still at school and my ex and I met there. She was arriving during the year and was in a group of people when I approached her. She had a good figure and a very innocent-looking face. Long story short, we end up kissing and getting together. She told me she was a virgin, and for once I was willing to do things right with her, so we really took our time and I gave her the best first time I could after about 6 months of being together. Something got my attention when she climaxed as she screamed, "OMG, this guy." Like if she has had other partners to compare it to, which seemed fishy, but I was younger, in love, and happy, so I didn't think much of it. We were very happy for a couple years, but all of a sudden she started being unresponsive when we were together, almost hiding herself in mutism when I asked what was wrong. And it really concerned me, as she used to tell me all about her problems. I even became like a psychologist to her, trying to make her feel good when her past came back to hit her in the face. I really did everything I could for this girl. Told her all about how strong she was for being able to overcome her past trauma. So I wanted to know what's up, and I had the gut feeling something bad was about to happen. I wasn't wrong. That night she confessed to me how bad she felt, and as usual, I was trying to make her feel special in order to ease her wounds healing. We had wonderful sex and went to sleep. I decided to go through her phone, sneakily used her asleep face to use the Face ID, and searched through her IG history. In the main section of her DM was nothing unusual, but in the hidden section I found only one person. I clicked and then I saw her texting to who she later called one of her coworkers. The only thing I remember from the conversation was her casually asking, "Oh please, I want you to lift me up." I almost screamed in shock, but I kept it for the next day. It was hard for me to keep it quiet, but I was exhausted from our little session and I ended up falling asleep, angry AF. About 2 hours later, I confronted her the next day and she got her phone out, admitting the guilt but told me nothing had actually happened. She also told me he looked a lot like me and that he blocked her as soon as she started making advances to him, and showed me proof of both of these statements. She also begged me to keep her, and I figured at the time I could let it slide since he completely neglected her and even blocked her. I lectured her on it, and the next few weeks she was very touchy, very nurturing, and super smiley, maybe in an attempt to make me forget all about it and keep our relationship healthy. I forgot to mention she started working in parallel to her studies, and so did I. Around that time I was just done with studies and started working full-time. I heard from a friend we had in common she had made friends that were very shy and annoying, and he was reluctant to talk to her since he felt like she had changed. She had always struggled to make friends, so I thought nothing bad about it, and she even told me about her friends often, and I honestly was happy for her. It then happened. It was the end of last year and we were together for 4 years or so. A random woman DM'd me on IG, but I straight up told her I wasn't interested and in a serious relationship. It was suspicious, as that BTCH was handling rejection like a champ. She kept going at me, telling me how handsome I was and how she knew my girlfriend didn't deserve me. I brushed her off for a couple days, but she was being so insistent that I finally accepted a coffee with her, making it very clear that nothing would happen. 5 minutes later, I had a call from my GF, telling me it's all over. I was already suspecting something at the time, but I just said okay and hung up the phone, going about my day. It troubled me for the rest of the day, but I called her the exact same night, and she confessed her girlfriends and her had made up this story on a fake account on which they were all taking turns and talking with me, trying to prove to her how bad of a boyfriend I was. Call me stupid, but she came back crying again. I was in love, I let it slide, lecturing her heavily. The truth is she broke my trust once again. From there it was only downhill. You will love it. 1 week later, in January, she came ringing to my door unannounced at 8 a.m., telling me she spent the whole night out and was just raped. She was in a very bad state. I knew she went to a party the night before, so I called every friend I had to gather as much information on the perpetrator as possible. The friend who warned me about her blue-haired friends answered his phone, telling me he left early, but he saw her very close and flirting with a guy that fitted the exact description she made of the supposed perpetrator. I thanked him and told her to go to the police. I was agreeing to go with her, but she refused, kept crying, and tried to gaslight me and make excuses like they are not going to do anything anyways. I did not believe her. I knew her very well, and it all felt like some plot to justify her behavior and test me at the same time. So I very politely told her to get the duck out of my flat and decided to forget about her once and for all. I cried all the tears I had, unsure of what just had happened. If she lied on something this big, then it definitely wasn't the first time she lied. Then it all became clear. I remembered all the times where something felt off, like when she rang my door, or during her first time. I had no evidence, but it was enough to get me to stop crying and enter the second phase of mourning a couple days later, anger. Anger was my most commonly felt feeling, so as usual I solved it by going to the gym and even stayed at my dad's for a couple days, which allowed me to process my mourning faster and get back to my celibate life in my student flat. It didn't end that way, however, as she came back unannounced one day at 10 p.m., ringing. I thought it was my neighbor, as she needed help all the time for her hot water tank and was paying me for the service, so I opened with a smile, and there I saw her. My ex-girlfriend was at my door, with 2 pizzas and a big smile. Here is our conversation. Me, what do you want? Her, I'm sorry. Me, I don't want you here. Her, I bought pizzas, we have things to say to each other, both of us, we never talked since it happened. Me, I'm not hungry. Her, please, I need to talk with you. Me, making room for her to come and tisk. We sat down on the bed, as I have a very small flat with only one bed, a kitchen, a TV and a table in a room. Her, I'm so sorry. Me, unresponsive. Her, starts to open the pizzas. Me, I keep watching the documentary on ancient Egypt I was watching before she arrived, acting unfazed. Her, unsure about what to do, she starts eating, smiling eagerly. You are not hungry. Me, I already told you that, if you have things to say, go ahead, but don't expect me to say anything back. Her, all right. I'm sorry I lied to you about what happened at the party. I was drunk and I wasn't really sure it had happened at the end, but I really love you, and you did nothing. Me, super angry and disappointed. You never drank. Stop lying. S told me what happened. He saw you flirting with him the same night. Her, unable to process, starts to cry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Me, if you are done, go. I don't ever want to see you ever again. I was still loving her, but the shame and pain feelings were too much for me to process. And as she wasn't leaving and I was about to cry, I eventually decided to stop feeling anything and my mind went blank. I decided to focus back on the TV. Her, can I have a last hug? I promise I will go after, so please let me hug you one last time. Me, wanting it to end as a PHM. It didn't mean anything, I just wanted it to end. Her, hugging me tight and trying to caress my back. Me, uncomfortable, not moving, fidgeting when she tried to caress my back. Her, there is something I want to ask you. Before I go. Hesitates. Me, HM. Her, can we make love one last time, please? This was the end of our conversation. My mind went numb from all of this. I suddenly wanted payback and figured, yeah, duck it, let's do it one last time, since we're at it. She started undressing immediately after I started touching her hips. Then she tried to kiss me, but I was reluctant to do it, so I grabbed her by her neck and pushed her. Then I undressed as well. Needless to say, I treated her like meat and even enjoyed insulting her in the process. I broke her back and knees that night like I never did to anyone, and somehow I was the one that lifted her up at the end. I'm sure nobody did it with such energy, and it somehow eased my pain. Then I kicked her out. I had blocked her from everywhere already, so I never talked to her again. I was not able to recognize myself after what I did. She kept sending me messages for a couple weeks, but I never responded as I knew it would only make things worse. Voila, it's the end of the story. It's been more than 6 months. I'm still in the accepting phase of mourning, but I keep going to the gym, and, seeing how friends could influence one's life, I started making room on my friends list and only kept the productive, hard-working, trustworthy friends around me. I recently realized I need to heal from her trauma. It was obviously more than one person could handle, and I realized what she shared with me, what I helped her heal from, was also weighing on me. It still is, and I haven't had sex with another woman for the last 6 months. A friend of mine tried to come out with her feelings when I broke up with my ex, but I'm trying to heal and better myself first. I think I need to show up to the next one with clarity, protection, and love. I wouldn't be able to do so right now, but I'm living my best life. I hope you enjoyed my story. If you are still reading this mess, I have to thank you for your time. If you have any question, suggestion, or advice, don't hesitate to ask, as I think I will read answers for a couple days. Oh, and also forgive my mistakes. English isn't my native language. Peace. Story 2. Once a cheater, always a cheater. An epic story of revenge on my ex. This is kinda long, but it's worth the read. So I'd been on and off with this girl for a while. She was smockin' hot, solid 9/10. Her and I just kind of clicked right off the bat, and it felt very natural. She seemed pretty smart too, felt like I lucked out. Boy, was I wrong. We were at that awkward friends but not friends stage for about half a year, and then one night she drops the L-bomb. I'm totally cool with it too, let her know I feel the same way. We dated for about a year. Then shit gets weird. I post some stupid cute comment on her Facebook picture, just trying to be sweet, and this dude comes in telling me I'm too slow on the draw and he's Prince Charming. Red flags now. This dude sounds pretty confident. That we've been talking about stuff, kind of confidence. Confront her about it and she insists they are just friends and they just started talking last month. I'm not stupid. Tell her either she cuts contact with him or I'm walking. She chooses the latter because he's a really great guy. Okay, whatever. I'll get over it. Just another woman hell-bent on wasting my time. About a month later she comes crying back and insists she loves me and we are meant to be together, and that guy was such a dick. I know she's full of shit, but on the off chance she's serious, I have her swear that she loves me and there's no going back this time. Enter Matt Vanguard. Dota 2 players will get the reference. I set up a fake profile with a sizable library of handsome photos from some random guy I found online. Then I add enough info and friends to make it believable, then add her and start chatting her up on this fake account. She swears left and right that this time is different. Meanwhile, Matt is scoring her number and setting up a date. I'm really pissed. It takes a real heartless CT to sit there confessing their love to someone they've been with for a year and a half while simultaneously setting up a date with someone else they've never even met and know nothing about. Yay, I'm definitely burning this shallow BH to the ground. I even did my best to make Matt sound like kind of an idiot and kind of an a-hole. She dropped the babe word for example and Matt responded with "Don't call me that again, got it? I'm not your babe." So she's going to school and takes the bus back and forth. I know her classes run pretty late and buses don't run forever, you know. So Matt is going to pick her up after school in his super fancy car and take her on the most romantic date of her life, or at least that's what she thinks. He conveniently doesn't get off work until about an hour after she gets out of class. She says that's fine and she'll just study until Matt arrives. Meanwhile, I'm asking her if she wants to hang out and she says she has some extracurricular things going on and her friend is going to give her a ride home. Haha, F you. So she hits up Matt. Hey, are you almost here? If not, I have to take the bus because they stop running soon. You can tell she's a little annoyed. He says, "Yay, sorry, I had to do overtime. We were super busy tonight. I'm leaving now." Okay, can't wait to see you. Oh, you can. You can and you will. Time drags by. Matt is now an hour late. He's super apologetic and he's speeding to the school to go get her. Damn, I just got pulled over. I shouldn't have been speeding, but I felt bad for being late. Seriously. Wow. Well, get here as soon as possible. Time keeps ticking and she is pissed at that point. Matt is hours late. Finally, I break the news. Sorry, I don't go out on dates with lying WS. What? What are you talking about? This isn't Matt. This is Anon. You guys know each other. No, I set you up to see if you were still an unfaithful C-word. And you are. Then she has the effing nerve to tell me she wasn't actually going to meet up with him. Are you effing kidding me? Don't talk to me anymore. And I suggest you start walking. I think you missed your bus. Months go by and she hits me up. She's very apologetic and says the whole incident has been replaying in her mind. I tell her I appreciate it and I'm willing to be friends, but I have a girlfriend and even if I didn't I wouldn't date her again. She says she understands. And the subject of our falling out comes up another day. She says her 3-hour walk of shame was the worst she's ever felt in her life. Good. It was the best I've ever felt in mine. TLDR, lying cheating ex-girlfriend tries to cheat on me with an imaginary guy and finds herself making a 3-hour walk of shame instead. Story 3. Pro revenge on cheating wife. TLDR, below. Someone posted a story earlier that was a bit too close to a true story that I was involved in. I previously shared it as a comment in another sub and thought I'd share the real story. This takes place before smartphones were omnipresent. I had a friend that was suspicious of his wife's social circle. One of her closest friends had been caught cheating and tried to throw her under the bus as well. Bob had no proof and things settled down for a while. Bob was in it. Professional and very, very good with PCs and networks. Nearly a year later, Bob's wife was acting shady again after her high school reunion. He confides in me and we talked through some scenarios. He jokingly mentioned a keylogger. He finally asked me to just drop it and most of all don't tell anyone, not even your wife. A couple months pass and I'm up early, 5:36, getting ready for work. I get a Facebook Messenger notification and see that I've been sent a link from Bob, but it's a group chat. It's literally everyone we know, her family, his family, our friends, strangers, everyone. I didn't open it. It looked like a phishing link even though it came from him who's extremely cautious. A short while later I get an email from Bob with some ominous, unsavory comments and the same link. It's a group email with the recipients openly copied, his wife's work, her family, her friends, his family and other people I didn't know. I knew it was legitimate now, so I opened it. The link was to a hastily made website containing pictures and videos of his wife and another man. This wasn't hidden camera footage, it was screenshots including video screen captures. Weeks worth of screenshots. He had captioned each item with snarky comments and colorful names for his wife and her lover. It was an embarrassing amount of evidence. Videos of her self-pleasuring with her lover. Chat logs about how they can't wait to meet again. Solo self-pleasuring videos of her and him. Tons of pictures. And the straw that broke the camel's back. Trash talking about her husband to her lover. Comments about how much bigger and better he was. Her efforts to stroke her lover's ego were especially hurtful. I dropped what I was doing and called him. He was drunk and combative. He had been up all night making the website and drowning in liquor. Not one good word to say about women in general. He was extremely emotional, but after some work I had convinced him to take the website down before it does irreparable damage to his marriage, their careers and his children. As he's sobbing and logging in to remove the website, I hear loud yelling as she bursts into the room. A screaming match ensues and there's nothing I can do to pull him back. Apparently her mother or sister saw the page, blew up her phone until she woke up and answered. She saw the website and went on the offensive. The phone call drops after 30 seconds of her screaming while Bob is calling her a whore and I can't contact him again. The website was still up for the rest of the day and he was kind enough to put a view counter on it. Hundreds of people watched her self-pleasuring with a married former classmate. Bob had done his homework. He installed a keylogger that records the whole screen. When he was out, she would log into the PC or Facebook and play with her boyfriend. Bob had found her lover, his family, his wife's family, his job, etc., etc. All these people were included in the Facebook and email groups. I do not know what became of her lover and his marriage, but I do know what happened to Bob's life. His wife was desperate to make amends. She tried and offered everything. In the end, it was her comments about her lover and his prowess that were her undoing. Bob tried to take her back, even after all his friends and family had seen her naked and cheating, but he couldn't get over the comments about his manhood. Bob eventually left her, gained about 100 pounds, and then finally moved as far away as possible and became a horrible human being. I have no idea what he's doing now, as he went scorched earth with most friendships and his family. She's gross and has a face shaped like a bowling ball now. Line forms at the rear. TLDR, a former friend sets a trap for his unsuspecting cheating wife. He then shares all the pictures and videos with her friends, family, employer, as well as the boyfriend's wife, family, and employer. Many lives were ruined. Story 4. I asked my boyfriend his thoughts on an open relationship and he broke up with me. How can I fix this? First off, let me start by saying that our age gap is not the issue here. My boyfriend is the best thing to happen to me in my adult life because of his age, not despite it. Over the 2 years we've been together, I've grown so much as a person thanks, in large part, to his gentle love and overwhelming support. None of my friends in long-term relationships have anything like what my boyfriend and I have, and they all say they wish they did. Also, he's more attractive and in better shape than all their boyfriends. So if your first reaction to this situation is that some dirty old man is taking advantage of a young naive girl, then you're wrong. And for the record, I was the one that asked him out first. I'm sorry if that comes across as defensive, but that seems to be the first reaction to our relationship by anyone who doesn't know us. We are both nurses. He is an administrative supervisor at my company. He trained me my first 2 weeks on the job and we hit it off because we both love to work out and have a lot of things in common. Nothing happened then, but I just couldn't stop thinking about him. So after about a month I stopped by his office after work and asked him out for coffee. 6 months later I moved in with him. That first year was the best time I've ever had in a relationship. We traveled, ate out, went to shows and movies. He taught me so much about life. He would really engage with me and listen to what I had to say. He also wasn't afraid to ask me those really tough questions that made me look at situations from another perspective. He taught me how to stand up for myself and conflict resolution. The more time we spent together, the more I loved him. Then the lockdown happened. My boyfriend is not perfect. One major problem is he is a micromanager when it comes to work, and a workaholic. As soon as lockdown started, he started working non-stop. Sometimes he would work 14 to 16 hours a day. From the end of April to the second week in June, he worked 36 days straight. He would come home, kiss me, work out, shower, and go to bed, just to get up the next morning and do it all over again. No one asks him to work like that, he just does. He says, I have to be an advocate for our patients and make sure they're safe and taken care of. I won't lie, I got really lonely during this time. I talked to him about it, and he cut back some. He even started doing silly things like ordering cheesy decorations online, then decorating our dining room like a Chinese restaurant and ordering takeout from our favorite Chinese place so it would feel like we went out. It was fun and nice, but I was still lonely. Around this time, an old friend from high school contacted me through FB. We started talking first on IM, then we started texting. He was really there for me and showed me a lot of attention. After a while, he asked if I wanted to meet up for drinks. I said yes, since my BF wasn't home. I ended up drinking more than I usually do. Before I knew it, we were kissing. I'm not going to lie, it felt really good. I did allow it to go too far, but I stopped it before we had sex. I left and went home. I felt awful, not because I did it, but because I did it behind my BF's back. The next day I asked my BF if we could talk. I started out by telling him how lonely I felt for these past few months and how I wanted to ask his thoughts on an open relationship. He was actually really receptive. He sat down with me and asked several questions about our relationship and how strong I thought it was. He listened as I explained that I loved him but needed attention that he can't provide right now. I wanted him, but I didn't feel like my needs were being met, and this would be an easy and safe way for me to get that attention I've been missing. He asked what brought this on, and I explained about my friend and how I wasn't interested in a relationship with him, but I would like to go out with him just for some distraction from everything going on. He sat there for several minutes, and that's when I saw the hurt in his eyes. It wasn't until that moment I realized how selfish I had been. It was like someone poured ice water over me. I had not once thought about him in this entire situation. But before I could say a word he said, "You need to leave." I tried to talk more, but he said he was not in a place emotionally to communicate with me effectively, and that I needed to give him space. I just broke down crying. I had messed it all up, and hadn't even realized it till that moment. He left after that and asked me to leave before he got back. About 2 hours later, I got a text from him saying that we need some time apart, and he didn't feel like we needed to be in a relationship right now. That was 2 days ago. I'm at my parents' house now, and I can't eat or sleep. I'm a wreck. I know I'm a dumbass and a horrible person, but please, if you have any advice on how to fix this, please help. I am literally making myself sick over this, and I have no clue what to even say to him. It's been over a week and some people asked for an update, so here goes. He called last Tuesday and said he wanted to talk. I was both scared and over the moon because I took the advice so many people here gave me to give him space. We hadn't talked since the said before and I missed him like mad. He says he wants to meet at my parents' house, and I agreed, although I thought that was a little weird. When he pulled into the driveway, he sent me a text asking me to come outside. I went out to meet him and he was standing in front of his car. I immediately saw that he had someone in the car with him, and I just broke down. I knew what was coming, and I didn't want to face it. He was so kind. He comforted me and helped me up on the porch where we both sat on the steps. I can't quote what was said, so this is paraphrased. He loved me, but my actions proved to him that we were in two different places in our lives, and he wasn't going to hold me back anymore. He said he knew I needed to live more and enjoy life before settling down. He apologized for holding me back for so long and thanked me for his best 2 years since his wife had died. I wanted to lay down on the ground and die right there. I just sobbed. That's all I could do. My dad finally came out and helped me back into the house. My dad then went back out and talked to my BF. They talked for a while. I don't really remember how long because I was near hysterical at that point. My mom gave me something to help me relax. When my father came back and he whispered something to my mom, and she helped me upstairs to my room. I laid there for a while till I heard someone pull into the driveway. I looked out and saw that a moving truck had backed in. He had all my belongings, at our place, packed up and delivered to my parents' house. That's when I really lost all control of myself. I was crying so hard I didn't feel like I was in control of my own body anymore. My mom ended up sleeping in my room with me all night. In the past 3 days I have been out of bed probably less than 10 times, and that was just to use the bathroom. I'm lost, and worse than that I lost him. But I was finally able to eat today, so I figured I would give you all a look at the end of my world. So yes, Reddit, you were right, and he left me. You were right that I'm a horrible person, and I deserve this, but it still hurts really bad.